Today's sponsor of the Vision Quest podcast is 920 Hat Company. Leather patch hats are in, and 920 Hat Company is here to hook you up with your very own custom hat. All patches are lasered on top-grade genuine leather and on popular brand hats like Richardson and FlexFit. Whether you're looking to show off your business or want a one-of-a-kind hat for yourself, 920 Hat Company can do it all. All the hats are handcrafted right in the Fox Valley, but worn across America. With over 500 hats in stock, they guarantee fast turnaround times. Honestly, Liam, looking at these hats, solid, right?
Yeah, they're pretty. I like them.
I like that patch itself.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one-of-a-kind stuff. I know his name's Trevor. He does great work. He's actually gotten I think we got a knit hat coming.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we got that coming. So we're really excited to have these guys on board as a sponsor. So get down to check them out on Facebook. I believe they're on Instagram. Check them out, man. They got the best hats, I think, in the Fox Valley, if not in the state.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So get down to 920 Hat Company on social media and check them out. All right, everybody. Quick one here. We were able to catch this guy like in between whatever he's got going on. He's got some coaching. You're all over the place, man. We got another edition of Terre with Lucas Steldt. Luke, you're everywhere, man.
You got to be. It's international. It's international.
You guys are just out in Colorado, aren't you?
Yeah, we go to the OTC, but every 6 to 8 weeks to train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that out there? Looked like you guys had some fun.
Yeah, it was close to speaking. We went the end of the month and then we went for the girls go. Sometimes we're able to get them into camp, sometimes we can't.
Yeah.
So because obviously a lot more women freestylers than there is Greco guys, so it's easier to get into Greco camps because of population. And women, because they're only juniors, so they kind of the seniors come first.
Yeah. So did you watch any Thor Masters a couple weeks ago at all?
I did not. I was so busy trying to get ahead. I'm like you, I have a daytime job. So I don't have my paid vacation is paying myself. So I had to get ahead of work.
Right on. Well, you had a couple things you wanted to touch on. I know you only have a short amount of time here because you got some training to get done, but
I got about an hour to this away, but
yeah. Well, you want to talk a little bit more about why it's imperative for Greco athletes to, once it's 15, 16, it's too late. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, we'll talk about the Greco. I'm not gonna hit in the women's freestyle. Just say we don't have time. I don't want to. It'd be too much for tonight. But
yeah.
Well, and kind of same sentence, but it's kind of the same idea. But it's just like here, like Greco is not like folk style and freestyle. Like, and I mean this in the most honest way. Like, there's a reason why you learn double legs, handside singles in high school and junior high and youth practice.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's a very low athletic move. I mean, you could really break it down and get, intricate about it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But you're not walking in doing biolocks the first day.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So in gymnastics is like a lot of things we do in Greco that we have to do. Like we have to have the ability to do certain things to be extremely high level. No, do you have to have a back arch and back step in Greco freestyle? No. Americans win gold medals all the time. They can't back arch or back step at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, our best. We do not have a single American besides Kyle Dake that can score 4 points in a takedown.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So I mean, there might be a fluke here and there. A guy falls down wrong, but I mean, Schneider might hit some low level back arch. But I mean, we have zero Americans wrestling like, with highly skilled back arching Polish finish laterals and double overthrows. Now, back in the 90s, we did when we had Ken Lacrosse and all those guys.
Yeah. Yep.
So it could just be a fad or whatever, but but they don't work on it because in Greco, remember, folk style you cannot back arch in folk style. It's against the rules.
Right.
You can't the back step. I mean, it's not really useful. It's not really useful in folk style.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way we do in Greco and freestyle, anyways. So them skills don't really get trained anymore. In the 80s and 90s, we trained back step, back arch every day in folk style practice.
Right.
Every day.
Yep.
I think in the 2000s, with the advent of all these youth year-round folk style stuff and the pressure to win, them skills got kind of diluted or kind of maybe pulled out of the training repertoire because of more time for riding and folk style stuff that need to be really solid to win at
right
youth level, higher youth level, high school level. So because folk style is really advanced in the last 20 years, definitely.
So to me, that seems like that's kind of the conundrum, though, because of the advancement, and I would say in both sports, as far as technique and things like that, because of the advancement, the popularity poll, obviously, that you have, with the folk style NCAA stuff like that, but the popularity poll pulls you one way, but then at the same time, though, too, the technique level, like you said, when kids come in from a folk style season into you, it's like you have to retrain them again, because they're so out of it and out of the technique. Even in practices, they have time that they have to catch up because they're out of it. Is that?
Yeah. And this is what,
go ahead.
Well, and just to touch on it real quick before I get too far off topic, but I'm kind of diverted. We're on topic, but we don't allow anybody to come train with us. If people don't start training with us in September for Greco, they can't ever come train with us. The only guys coming to train with us is our camps, so we have HBG program, right? Once a month. And if they come to that, they can come train with us in the spring after folk style season. If they, or if they're training with us, which all of our guys that join Greco or our club have to do HBG anyway, but you have to get in September on to train in the spring. You just can't come. We have 5-6 years ago, I got rid of letting people come in to train when I've never seen them at all, because we have guys training full-time Greco. Yeah. I got guys coming in, they're so far behind. I got guys that are multiple state champions that I'm like, you're useless. I can't, we're here to train you, but you need to help us. And you're actually slowing us way down.
Yeah.
Same thing with women freestylers. I have, every time I bring a girl in, that's why I only handpick girls, because every time I bring a girl in, it came into the warm-up. Yeah. So it just slows us way down. So, like you just said, though, we get guys that are super high-level folk style athletes. I got guys right now that have won gold medals in freestyle and are going to Division I, or I got that going to Division I or in Division I, and they come in here to camp, and it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't lift anybody off the mat. Yeah. We're because we're missing. We're not. By the time you get here, you got to have some type of Greco background. Typically, that's what I'm doing beginner camp. So yeah, the folk style skills. There's not one single skill in folk style. There's not one single thing in folk style that's useful in Greco. In fact, folk style action pollutes the Greco action. You'd be like, that's why I think Greco's like gymnastics. No gymnasts become cheerleaders. Shooters don't become gymnasts. Yeah. So when you're a high-level gymnast, you start at 3-4 years old, and as you just go on, depending on all kinds of things, you fall back into high school gymnastics, and then you fall back into college gymnastics. Now, if you make level 10, and level 10 is kind of like high-level college, stuff like that. But if you make elite, you don't go to college. Yeah, right. You stay elite. If you watch college gymnastics compared to world level gymnastics, now there are probably a few Division I girls in Utah and some places that that are pretty good now. But since gymnastics is using a top-down theory, that's how good we are in the world. There's so many good girls we can afford to have our 6th, 7th best can win a world medal, but she's in college. But our top 5 or 6 or top 5 or 4 aren't doing college, because it's a different level of scoring, different level of critiquing, different lifestyle, all that stuff. And so imagine they never go to public school. They don't play their sports ever, because their sport is so precise in the technique and skills they need to maintain throughout the years. And there's a window between, like, say, 4 and probably 10 that you have to achieve certain skills. And if you're about 8, 9 years old, you ain't level 10. You can make level 10 years later in life, but you ain't going to be a high level gymnast. Sure. They know by 8 years old how good you're going to be. So same thing in Greco.
This seems to emulate what goes on, overseas, as far as you're talking about gymnastics and things like that. So with what they do over there, are they in are there schools based around their athletics then when it comes to the profession? That's what they are when they're athletes. They're professional athletes, Yeah.
And I think, the government, the whole system, so it's pretty socialistic. Yep. And it's kind of a combination of capitalistic, socialistic. You can argue that all day long, but it's a different system over there where, if you want to wrestle, you go to certain high schools. Yeah. If you want to do gymnastics, you go to certain training centers. So the sports, you just don't it's not like Wisconsin, the United States has a really cool deal going. Right. But it's folk style, right?
Just the comparisons.
It's a comparison. It's totally different. It's more the international training system, because there are a lot of reasons, political reasons, financial reasons, and just the way they believe in education, is that if you want to wrestle, you go to them schools.
Yeah.
You want to do, so you just don't go to a school and have wrestling. You go to a club. It's more, I would say in the United States, it just pretty much mimics the private wrestling club sector.
Sure.
So if you're saying like you go to Athens, you go to RTs, you go to Advance or where these clubs are across the street, you're pretty much going there and going to school.
Right.
You just pretty much take the United States system and get rid of the high schools.
Right. And that's as far as I understood it as well. But with then with the rest of it then, so over here, I was just talking to someone today at practice, talking about how, because they have a daughter that's in wrestling and she's fairly decent, and obviously it's folk style here when it comes to everything else, but she also does really well at freestyle. So, you know, kind of having the conversation, and not just I don't want to zero in on the women's freestyle, but this goes along with Greco too. But when it boils down to what you guys are capable of accomplishing, and as far as in that span of time, when you talk about 15, 16 being, too late when it comes to, specializing, does that, so what there, as far as the men and women, does that only happen between the men and women, or is that a men thing? Cause we always talk about how guys mature, not only mentally, but physically, differently than women. How does that play out as far as any kind of age group and timing, cause you've been around it for a while.
Yeah. I would say, well, just scientifically, that's why girls do gymnastics so much younger.
Sure.
And they're such a nervous system. If you really study that kind of stuff, neural pathway development, all that kind of, they're pretty much done by 12, 13 years old. Boys, between 16 and 18. That's something they're, and it kind of goes with, if you kind of, just say it's scientific, but if you really study it, it just seems to be, the more their frontal lobe develops, the less athletic development there is. So the smarter you get, the less athletic you get.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's a scientific thing, but if you really study, like, okay, when is the mental frontal lobe development of a young boy compared to a girl? Then when's their peak training? When can they learn about difficult skills?
Yeah.
Like, girls start developing skills or mental awareness of death and consequence really young at 10, 12 years old. That's why, that's why the Olympics is 16 years old in gymnastics, and high dive is, and the high diving. For the swim, high dive and all that stuff. Yep. Because when you're 8, 9 years old, you don't know you don't know consequence.
Right.
That's when you're all messed up all the time. Now a boy, they're a little older. If you're like my guy, you're talking my athletes, they never grow out of it, right?
Right.
So the boys are a lot different. They're older, and just so they can develop skills later. But at the same time, you're the human body. You're not going to take it. You're not taking any girl or guy in the world and making them to Olympic level gymnasts at the 8 or 9. If you're a girl or boy and you show up to gymnastics school and it's like 8 years old, they're like, okay, you can be a good high school athlete, and you can't even make college. I mean, it's too late. That's how Greco is, because we got to do all these extremely complicated skills. Now people are going to say, well, so and so this and so won a medal here and so and so another.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, it's 2023. None of the people in the history of the world, actually, you can say, they did a Polish finish. They never did in the Olympics. They didn't do it at Worlds. And the rules really favored the Americans back when it was 1 6-minute match and overtime.
Right.
You could be remember, people have to remember this. You could be losing a match and go to overtime. Think about that. You could be losing a match and go to overtime.
Yeah.
And so that's what favored the Americans. So the American style was always been, hey, I just got to stop this dude from scoring for 6 minutes and hope we get to overtime and wear this dude out.
Right.
It was like and if you talk to Americans, they talk about us all the time, like being tough, grind, all stuff. And I'm like, I always get so perturbed by them. I'm like, so what you're saying is you're too stupid to learn technique. You're hoping the other guy's dumb enough to be out of shape. Yeah. So all the other guy do is got to be, once he's in shape, you're stupid. That's all you have is being in shape.
So it's funny.
And now the rules are different. The rules. So I'm gonna go back and say, the reason why it's so imperative now for us to be younger Greco before is because the reason why we were able to jump in at 20 some years old in Greco, because the foreigners didn't start training at all until 15, 14, 16 years old, right?
Right.
Well, now the foreigners are training at 2 and 3 and 5, 6 years old, just like Americans are.
Yeah.
Youth tournaments, youth singlets, clubs, all the whole thing. So by the time they get to 16, 18 years old, and overseas, they're not cutting weight. They're waiting to be good. They want to peak out as seniors. They only care about seniors.
Yeah.
We're worried about Tulsa. We're worried about Reno Worlds. We're worried about every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in your high school career.
Yep.
And so And the human body, you only have one set of tires when you're human. You don't get multiple sets of tires.
Correct.
So once you wear that tread out, you're done. And so, you don't see people showing up. You're a soccer player. Nobody walks into soccer at 20 years old and makes the pros. There's no way.
I did.
Well, did you play it over in Europe?
I did not. No, I did not play that level.
We're talking about the Olympics.
No.
We're not talking about winning the U.S. Open. We're not talking about winning the state title.
Right.
We're not talking about state titles. We're not talking about Fargo. We're not talking about making a world team.
Yep.
We're talking about winning an Olympic medal.
Yep.
We're talking about winning a world medal at a senior level.
Mid-20s, late 20s. Yep.
Everything else is inconsequential. It's no useful measurement.
Yeah.
And so that's when we're talking about, and the way the rules are now. The rules are meant to have the match under 3 minutes. It's a 8-point tack.
Yep.
They want 4-point throws. They want 5-point throws. They want push-outs. They want 2-point correct throws. They want athletes totally incentivized to score and take risk as much as humanly possible.
Yeah. Yep.
It is right now, like there's some countries like Armenia that their attack rate is every 8 seconds. They want to take they want to scoring every 8 and you want to do that. You want to take that action to score points. Right. Because once you create, so in Greco and freestyle, this is where a lot of coaches in America are just so whatever about things. That's what they picked into the rule set. Even a high level coach that I talk to, I'm like, yeah, it's totally wrong. Yeah. Because they're stuck 20 years ago. The rules are now as this in Greco and freestyle. Once you start in action to even try to score points, 100% of the rules are on your side. Yep. That's like walking into a bar fight with 10 people throwing the first punch. Yep. Right? Yep. So whoever throws the first punch, it's like walking into a bar it's you and another guy going to fight. And the whole bar is a bunch of dudes. Yep. And you throw the first punch, that means the whole bar's on your side now. Yep. If you throw the first punch, the whole bar's on your side. And people don't understand that. That's why the foreigners like taking so many high action risks in the first, probably I would say after the first 45 seconds to a minute. Yeah. Because they want to get 2 or 3 attempts and put you down parterre. Yep. We have forced parterre. We don't have time. The American mentality of not knowing anything and grinding guys out you can't use it. Right. It's not going to happen. You'll be teched out.
So I was just watching some of those Thor guys in with the situations, talking about that high level that you were talking about. I'm not used to these guys. They're grinding, but at the same time, they're grind, throw. It's grind, throw. And then arm spin, everything. Yeah. And especially with these bigger guys at 77 kilos and stuff, you're starting to get a little bigger. I've never seen big guys try action like that, and they're throwing a lot more.
I'm going to tell you something right now. 100% of the folks that I get, they could be all kinds of. I got guys that have been world champions. I got guys that have been freestyle. I got guys that are Division I wrestlers. They can't pick a dude off the mat.
Wow.
They can't pick anybody up. They're too weak. They're too slow. Yeah. They're unexplosive. They're like molasses. Right. By the time they put an underhook in, it takes them 2 hours to do anything with it. Yeah. But the folks rule set is that style because the way the rules are is it's a different style. It's a totally different sport. Yep. There's no protection to the wrist. When you're in folk style, there's no protection for the guy scoring. In fact, the rules are actually for all the defensive athletes. You can't slam them, can't spike them. Right. You can back out of bounds. You can back out of bounds, go onto the court, basketball court, circle back in, take it up. Right. So, and it's actually in folk style. All the consequences are held. All the risk and responsibility is held by the guy creating the action. Right. It's the morbid opposite in Greco and freestyle. So when I'm talking about, and that's a whole other subject there, but when I'm talking about why these guys in Greco, what are the winners? What do you do in folk style, right? So in folk style practice, your little Timmy goes to a tournament, gets a crap kicked out of him, and he gets beat by a dude. And he goes, what do you do? Well, I go to so-and-so's private club. So what's little Timmy do? He goes to their club or the same club, blah, blah, blah. They do what the winners do. When in America and Greco, we don't do that. We say, okay, we're the best guys in the world. Best guys in the world, their first training gymnastics, do all these left leg stuff. They're training full-time Greco from probably 8, 9, 10 years old on. Yeah. And it's all they're doing for the rest of their life. And we're like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep doing what we've been doing and have a handful of dudes that want a medal. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, and the rules are changing constantly. And so in the level of Greco is so much higher than it was.
It is.
5 years ago. Yeah. 5 years ago, we did not train. Nobody was training to score off bottom. We're training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, twice today, and Sunday morning. Yep. Mandatory. And we spend Sunday, Monday, Tuesday all in parterre, 100% in parterre. And we spend half of that time scoring off bottom. In some sense, we're spend half that time getting thrown through the air and bellying down, so we give up 2. Yeah. Getting it thrown for 2, landing on top and get our 1, and do our gut or something. So that wasn't happening 5 years ago, much less 20 years ago.
I'll agree.
And then when I go to U23 Worlds, I got guys that are juniors from other countries winning a junior medal. They're going to U23s at 97 kilos doing a Polish finish, picking dudes up, throwing them off the mat.
Yeah.
And then and they're winning a senior medal.
Yep.
Our Americans, all they got, if they're lucky, is a pummel.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of these dudes are good friends of mine.
Yep.
And they just have no skill level at that level. Their best option is the guy makes a mistake and we catch him or we wear the dude out. Now, the guys doing the best in the United States right now in Greco are doing the most. The guys putting the most hours, like in folk style, the guys putting the most hours in Greco are doing the best.
Yep.
You know, and so right now with Greco, it's so imperative that our guys getting a full time before 16 because the best in the world are getting in that 10.
I just watched two guys getting up off the bottom. You know, bringing that up. It has changed. It's watching and looking at what we placed. I was looking at the placements for Thor. I mean, we were top 10. You know, but a lot of them were right at the cusp as far as 7, 8, 9, 10, 12s. You know.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. Until right, I got a bunch of guys I got kids living here from all over the country training full time Greco.
Yeah,
they've been here for a little bit now. I got, we also had Austin and Benji go. Austin went the first kid to go, then Benji and Peyton Jacobson. But you look at we got guys right now that were juniors last year beating the guys that made the Olympic team.
Yeah, I
got Peyton Jacobson that beat the Olympian as a junior.
Yep.
So I mean, our guys are so far because it's just like in folk style. The guys putting in more time are just better.
Right.
It's not rocket science.
Right.
You know.
Right. Exactly.
And what I'm telling people that why it's so imperative when we go Greco and drop folk style, anything freestyle for the Greco guys is because the actions of folk style, the mentality, the development of the body is totally it's completely opposite of Greco.
Yep.
Right. Because and then even freestyle so much in the freestyle action between freestyle and folk style, but it gets hid because we have such great athletes in folk style making freestyle teams. Or they're training lots of freestyle. But a lot of it's called intent. When I shoot a double leg in freestyle with the girls, is I tell people, you shoot that double leg, your job is run them through the score table, into the parking lot, through the cement, and into this closet.
Yep.
That's 4 or 5 points.
That is 4 or 5.
In folk style, we're like, don't slam them, don't run, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Just pick their leg up and bring them down.
The intent is completely different.
Yeah.
Same thing in Greco. You know, when we pick a guy up in the air, we're jumping up in the air. We are literally jumping up in the air trying to split this dude in half.
Right.
Because they're trying to do it to us.
Yep.
We do this thing called a Korean front headlock. And I mean, when we do it, I mean, it's a very complex. I mean, you better go over, or it's going to be some problem for you. But we can do this in Greco because they want we want guys to score points.
Yes.
And the guy on defense has to adjust. No different than an arm bar and folk style. You know, my arm broke, well, you better go to your back. You know.
So do you guys? With that being said, do you guys find yourselves relying? And I know you guys all know a lot of technique. It's not like you don't have knowledge on what's going on overseas, things like that. But do you find yourselves then, because of what we do or don't have here, bringing guys over from overseas to train?
No, the problem with that is this. If you bring a foreigner, and people talk about this stuff all the time, it's not a bad idea to bring foreigners over here to train. It's not going to be, that's obviously a good idea.
Right.
The problem with that is as soon as you bring a foreigner to the United States, within like 6 months, they're Americanized. They don't want to train.
Oh,
they don't want to rest every single day.
Gotcha.
And their technique starts to fade and their edge starts to fade. It's not the technique. It's not the gut.
Yeah.
It's not the lift. It's not the technique. It's the acclimation to the intent and the speed of the game.
Gotcha.
It's like going from junior high football to Division I football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
The speed of the game, explosion, all this stuff. You know, you're throwing a pass at the dude and he's 30 yards away. In high school, throwing right at him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference between the Greco. And we that's why you got to go overseas. You got to live in that culture.
Yeah.
You got to live in that culture. You got to live in that training environment. You got to live in the lifestyle that they are. That's all they have.
Yeah. Well, and you don't see those guys all over social media posting and shit like that.
No,
and,
it's totally different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah. So
go ahead.
I was going to say, when I talk with people, like, wow, why so young? It's not that I'm scared. It's literally scientific.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not, I can't, it's like, why? Because I can't take a 17 or 18-year-old. Yeah, I can teach him a Polish finish.
Sure.
I can teach him a bylock.
Yeah.
But can I teach him to do it in the Olympics? Probably not, because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Every now and then they'll point to like this guy. So let's take the mean average. If you want a system or a process, you take the highs out,
yep,
and you take the lows out, right? So you take the anomalies and then the failures out. And
yep,
what's the mean average? The mean average is pretty unsuccessful.
Yeah.
And so that's where with me, it's like, no, it's not a system. When I got athletes that I'm associating with, and we're going through technique, and they're like, I can't buy. And these guys are mid-20s.
Yeah.
These guys are well over mid-20s, and they can't do anything. I mean, they got a gut and some pummeling and something got, it's because they stay in third, they're 20 some years old, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And the Greco they learned in high school was just a bunch of bullshit.
Well,
and
like you were saying, if they're not doing it constantly though, too, is like if a guy comes in from folk style and tries to do Greco, it's a whole different muscle mindset as well.
Exactly.
So
that's exactly what I'm talking
about. They can't, like you're talking about a guy not being able to lift another guy. That's not part of his game when it comes to wrestling and folk style. So then he comes to work these muscles.
Different.
He can't pick a guy
totally
up.
Different.
Yeah.
It's totally different. And that's good. And the lift and the guts, it gets so, and you break that down, it gets so intricate.
Yeah.
I know people are like, oh, it's so intricate. It's so, we spend year round on this stuff.
Yes.
And we go overseas and spend tons of money. It's so intricate.
Yep.
So, for me, it's really what I get really mad at Americans are so ignorant to some of this stuff. Like, I can learn this stuff later. I'm like, no, you can learn it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn it, but then you got to be able to do it in the heat of the moment in the Olympics to win a medal.
Yeah.
Not at the U.S. Open, not at the Northern Plains or Fargo, some bullshit tournament in the United States.
Yeah.
Against some other guy that sucks. You got to have a real measurement, right?
Right.
And so it's exactly what you said. I need these kids young enough so we can develop these skills and actions and neural pathways before those windows close. Now, if we can develop these skills later on in life, then why don't we have gymnasts showing up to high school and I'm gonna go for gymnastics and softball and baseball and be an Olympian? No. If they work, that's what would be happening. No, but they got to start at 3 years old.
Lost you. Hold on.
Now?
Now I got you. You got to get him at 3 years old.
Yeah, you got to get him for gymnastics. I mean, so if we got to do gymnastics, I'm saying Greco, we need him probably at 8, 9, 10 years old. Now, the only reason I don't take him that young, because we live in the United States.
Yep.
And in the United States, I'm thinking I need him about 15 or 16 because by that time you got a driver's license.
Yep.
They've been around all the other clubs. They've tried Greco. They tried freestyle. They tried folk style. They tried Greco. They tried baseball. They tried basketball.
Yep.
They've all kind of tried also, and they're going to choose about. I would totally take them at 10 years old. But Americans are fickle.
Yeah.
I can't get them before 16 because if I do, they'll be like, oh, I really want to go to Penn State and want to do that. Well, then you don't want to do Greco.
Right.
So I just pissed away 2 or 3 years training a guy for no good reason at all.
Yep.
Yep,
I agree.
So that's why I say 15 or 16. I would take them younger, but I just think if this was in overseas, like in Moldova, we go to Moldova every year.
Yep.
Last 2 years we haven't gone because of the Russian war. This year got canceled last second. So, anyways, Moldova, where we go, is a school.
Yep.
And it's pretty much like what we train in here in Blue River.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody lives there. From 10 years old on, you live there for the rest of your life.
Whoa.
And you train there until you retire. So the 10-year-olds, I mean, they have different class times, obviously.
Yeah.
10-year-olds and 24-year-olds. But that's where you all train. They all train there for the rest of their life. And they got the best guys. They got some of the best guys in the world winning Olympic titles and world titles.
So that's what I was getting at before is with these. So start, with these kids, when they figure out what they want to do, or their parents are just like, this is what you're doing. There's a whole school where it's balanced around the sport comes first, but then the school, the schooling's afterwards. You still get school.
You're going to school there today.
Right.
You're going to school there today.
Right.
And in their school, in their high school, it's kind of a little different there. Their high school and college is kind of, you can kind of go to college a little sooner than do. It's kind of different, but
sure.
It
blends into each other.
Yeah. But when those kids move there, 10 years old, they see their parents like 3 times a year. So when Americans come to me and are like, yeah, and I'm not saying that's right, but I'm just saying, but please do it here. We got kids. How many kids do I know? I had a kid come here not too long ago. I'm not gonna say names.
Yeah.
I just had a kid come here with the dad trained from Greco, and I'm like, hey, blah blah blah, and he's like, yeah, next year he's gonna go to school here or there, blah blah. He's gonna be boarding school. I'll see him 3 times a year. And it's just for high school folk style.
Wow.
So that happens all the time. And they're spending, close to $100,000 a year going to school, 1 to 2 schools.
Yeah.
So that's happening in the United States.
Yeah, it's every.
It's just a different sport.
Yep.
But that's what I'm saying. It's so imperative because it's and people can argue with me. And here's what I tell everybody: hey, I hope they're right. I hope these kids can go to high school folk style, college folk style, come out at the end of the D1 with no injuries. Let me have that happen.
You're right.
And then go full-time Greco and win a medal. I hope that does happen, but it hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah.
Because if it does happen, go prove me wrong. Then stop quitting after college. Stop quitting after high school.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the guy. They don't even run some folk style at high school, much less Greco.
Right.
So that's where I'm like, we got to get these guys before 15, 14, 16 in Greco full time.
Yep.
So we can monitor their competition, right? We can monitor their training, monitor their no weight cutting,
yep.
Their body composition.
Yeah.
The whole life, not just training Greco. We're talking about the whole entire lifestyle. And we can say to guys, hey, we're training you to be like, I just talked to a female athlete that's on with LTC. We're like, hey, and this is where Americans are good, and it can be a double-edged sword here. And I'm on both sides of the fence in this one. Like a foreigner, if you go overseas, they're like, hey, you're going to wrestle 65 kilos in freestyle or whatever, right?
Yep.
And we think you can make a bronze medal in the worlds, but we're not going to send you Olympics because we're really good enough for Olympics. We're going to send John or Timmy or Betty to Olympics instead because we think they can be an Olympian.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll give you the world medal. We're going to give them the Olympic medal. And then we're going to send the other dude, the Europeans, because we think they win the European medal. So they'll spread the medals up between the athletes to keep them all happy. But they pick and choose who they think is going to be like, hey, they'll say, hey, stop thinking you're Olympian. You're not that good. But you're probably good enough for a bronze. So that's where with athletes here, we obviously say, hey, we're telling them, have high aspirations, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, we're telling athletes here, you're wrestling this weight class this year.
Yeah.
And next year, wrestling that weight class. Or like that, we have two guys right now, and I don't want to say name that. We had a guy. I said, hey, you're going to spend 2 or 3 years at this weight class, and you're going to shit kicked out of you. So then, when it comes to the Olympic trials, we can be at this weight class and grow into it. And we did that, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But a lot of athletes and families can't do that. They're like, well, I can't take 2 or 3 years to get a shit kicked out of me, so I can be good 3 years from now.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm talking about, getting them at the right age, because I can't. If I get a folk style athlete after 16 years old, I'm telling you from right now, it's almost useless. And people, I hope people listen and people say, screw Lucas Steldt.
Yeah.
Then go wrestle folk style and train Greco and go beat my guys and go make the Olympics and win a medal. Go do it.
Right.
Go do it. But it's not happening. I hope they do. If you need competition, you need people away in their brackets.
Yeah.
But, the problem is like when I get guys after 16, 17 years old, it's not about moves and technique.
Yeah.
It's about the whole lifestyle.
Yep.
It's about them being cutting weight too much. The opportunity to use puberty to a maximum benefit.
Yep.
It's about developing explosion skills and a mentality. The mentality. Are you involved in high school so much that the homemaking and prom is the end of the world? Now you graduate high school, like you small town kids, graduate high school from around this area, go to Division I, and hear from again. They get to the big town, like, oh my God, I'm just one of a million.
Yeah.
Right. And so that happens all the time. You got to put them in the right mentality. Like we go to overseas, we're going to camps, we're like, see, you're not that good. We go to the OTC, see, you're not that good. Hey, keep a level head.
Sure.
Keep a level head. Chill, relax. Yeah, you won Fargo. Yeah, you won a world. Oh, you want a cadet medal? You want a U15 medal? Great. But guess what? You're just older than the other dudes. Wait till juniors when everybody's got a mustache and beard. Wait till seniors when everybody's coming.
Right.
The guy you just beat the crap out of in U15s and cadets, wait till he gets to be 24 like you and has muscles twice the size if you stop lifting weights.
Yeah.
And stop training. So that's where the mentality and the whole entire lifestyle, it comes into play. When I say when I name at a certain age, it's everything. It's neural pathway development. It's skill development. And that's the scientific level.
Yeah.
Then it's talking about more of like not wearing the athletes out injury-wise, mental health, all that stuff. And everybody should realize what I'm talking about, because you get all these, like, say, guys that play football and wrestle and play baseball, or maybe they're wrestling this winter, wrestling this spring, and they play football, but damn, they can't wait to wrestle season. And you see these dudes, they come out at the beginning of wrestling season, and you're just doing awesome. And all of a sudden, state rolls around, they're like, oh, they kind of fade.
Yeah.
But just imagine that now at 28 years old, when I need my dudes winning medals, we're talking about the Olympics. We're not talking about conference and state. We're not talking about even world teams. We're talking about making Olympics, winning a medal at 24, 28, 32. Yep. If Japan can win medals, if Japan women, this is women now. If Japan ladies can win medals at 18 years old and win 4 or 5 medals before we even get close to even touching them, that's what we need to start. And that's why I want to talk about women's freestyle right now. We'll talk about this tomorrow time. But that's why women's freestyle is so far behind. And the high school wrestling is going to put them further behind. The goal is not to the goal is not to be a high school state champion and a college. If your goal is to be a high school state champion and also a college national champion, well, you're 28 years old. The Japan girls are winning them in 18. They're winning them in 18 and 20 and 22 and 24. They're winning 2 or 3 medals before you even get a shot at. Yeah, they're going to beat them. They're ready to retire. You know?
Hey, so you got the class showing up, huh?
Yeah, Greco's going now. I don't know what they're doing. What are you guys doing?
We just did comp warm-up.
We're doing warm-up. Yeah.
Relax.
So
dude.
Yeah. Well, no, and I think people totally misunderstand why we need these kids so young. It's not that I don't think they can't learn them. I know they can learn the moves.
Yeah.
But it's to learn, but it's the whole entire aspect of being your most productive athlete. Like if you like, it's like if you guys would study horse racing or study sprinters and stuff like that, and they sit there and tell these guys, they say, hey, dude, you can run your fastest race. You got like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't run your fastest race every weekend.
Well,
so that's the same thing in sports. I think there's a time, 10 years. I think there's 10 years of dominance, a decade of dominance, and you got to choose when that clock starts. You want to start at 14 and be done at 24. You want to start at 10 and be done at 20. Half these guys start 10 and done by 16.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's just like telling a guy to go from knowing how to do scrambling or from Greco to scrambling. They wouldn't know what's going on there either. Not that it's important to whatever the Greco guys got going on, but well, dude, I think I'm going to get out of your hair, man. It's about 35 minutes here, but you got some guys ready to roll. So I'll,
I guess the main thing I want to talk about today was just like, the reason why we need these kids so at a certain age is one, scientific for neural pathway development and skill development. And then two is to manage their life. It's no different than a lot of folk style clubs that are in Wisconsin saying, hey, let's manage this. Let's not cut weight. Let's manage your competition count. And they're doing it in folk style. So, and I'm saying this for Greco, same thing, but obviously our sports, I think there's a lack of respect for the sport from Americans. They look at it like, the body lock. They look at like, it'd be like being a lineman and be like, all you do is pushing guys. I guarantee if you're an NFL lineman, they're spending so much time on the smallest intricacies, how to block and scheme work and all that stuff, And all sports have those specialties. You're just not going to learn these things. You're not going to learn these things at the level you can be at the Olympic level. Now, this is where people have to decide. Do they really want to be that good?
Yep.
And this is what happens to Americans. This is what Americans do. And I post this all the time. Americans are really good at this, just because of where our life is. We have way too many options. Americans are really good at giving up what they want, most of what they want now. And that is 100% true. Like, they'll give up. What are they going to do? If you say to somebody, go to bed at night at 8 o'clock and get up at 4 in the morning, they'll be like, I'll sit to 10.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. And then you sit there and say, hey, don't we do this instead of that? No, they're gonna get, I may never be an Olympian, so I know I can be a conference champion. I know I can be a state champion, so I'll do that. And then if I'm good, if I'm good there, I'll do that. And that's what Americans are really like. That's what they're really good at saying. Well, what they'll use is accomplishments.
Yeah, because I did this, I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's almost like I got to wrestle the state champ next week. Well, that was last year, bro.
Yeah.
That was one match. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing in Greco and freestyle. It's like you have to choose. If you think winning state titles, Olympic title, or national titles equals winning Olympic titles, then we have to look at freestyle. Freestyle is doing good, but it's a handful of dudes. Look what happened when our number one heavyweight took a little break. We don't have anybody.
Yeah.
And at 65 kilos, we're not doing so hot. Yep. And at 55 kilos, we're not doing so hot.
Yep.
So even we have millions of wrestlers, and we're still struggling. We're doing good right now, but we're not traditionally good. When you're going to see when these guys right now we have kind of move out of the way because we're getting old. We'll see what happens in freestyle. We've always had our ups and downs in freestyle. So we had a freestyle summit in 2007 or 8 because they didn't score a single point at the Worlds, and we won Worlds in Greco. And so they did that for a reason. Now the NCAA rules had a lot to do with that, blah, blah, the RTCs and all that.
Yep.
But I give credit to the private sector for training freestyle younger for Worlds and all that.
Yep.
But you're talking, we'll see if you're talking. We have a system now, high school and college, where you have millions of wrestlers, thousands and thousands of wrestlers in college, and they're still, having a hard time convincing these dudes to stay after for Greco and freestyle.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, let's get these for Greco. Because I'm not going to mess with women's freestyle. I feel the same way. It's a whole other conversation, and I have a different thing on that.
Yeah.
But with women's for Greco, it's really scientific when it comes down to functionality, skill, neural pathway development down to a neural pathway development skill level, and then 2, managing her life, saying, okay, we are going to spend say 14, 15 to about 18, 19, completely in development, and probably not doing so hot. We're going to make the finals, make thirds, not win. But then when we get to about 22, 23. We're number 1 in the country.
Yep.
We're number 6 in the world.
Yep.
And so far we're doing that, and it's booked up pretty good.
Right. I agree, man. Well, you have a good rest of your night, dude. I appreciate you jumping on here. And then next time we'll talk about some freestyle with the ladies.
Yeah. Okay.
But hey, good luck to the guys. What do you got coming up next? Where are you going?
Well, the next competition is the U.S. Open.
I'll be out there.
Yeah, the girls none of the girls get cleared until May to compete. So I think the first competition for the girls will be Greco freestyle state in Northern Plains.
Okay. All right.
The guys will wrestle. We have cadets, obviously, U.S. Open. The USA schedule is so crazy.
Yeah.
The U.S. Open, our guys will wrestle the U.S. Open to qualify for I think all the guys are qualified for World Team Trials for juniors U23, but we're going to wrestle for ranking. And if you win, if you win it, you can sit out. And then we have some seniors, obviously, as well. And then our cadets is World Team Trials for cadets. We have World Team Trials. Now, honestly, I have some really, really good cadets, but nobody cuts weight. Actually, most of the guys are underweight. And I look at winning a Fargo title, making a U15 team, making a cadet team is like winning the Heisman Trophy.
Sure.
We give zero credit for it, and we do nothing to work for it. We just train right through it. I want to make the team. We'll win a medal. I mean, we'll take a medal again.
Yeah.
But we are, like I said before, all the guys here making the wrestling U15s or making cadet team are 100% eating and growing for the junior level weight class.
Nice.
Cadets. So
good.
So that's how we're doing that. So
good. Well, good luck to you guys out there, and we'll sit down, figure out another time to talk, get some freestyle done.
Busy life.
Yeah, that's right, man. Well, you take it easy. Be good.
You do. Bye.
Bye-bye. All of our episodes are brought to you by Appleton Tattoo, located at 117 South Appleton Street in Appleton, Wisconsin, right off the main drag on College Avenue. You can't miss them. I've had some work done. I have a Celtic cross that covers my back that was done by Jason. We're not done yet. Jason Winans and crew, the artists that he have there, those guys are the best in the Fox Valley. They are definitely one to go to if it's something that you've just been kind of throwing around. They'll make you feel comfortable. It's a very clean environment, very nice crew, and very willing to get done whatever you need done when you need it done. You can message them on Facebook. I know they're on Facebook. You can give them a call at 920-604-8289 and get in touch with Jason Winans and crew at Appleton Tattoo, located again in Appleton, Wisconsin at 117 South Appleton Street, right in Appleton. Very flexible hours, great crew, clean environment again. I would not send you anywhere else except for these guys. Appleton Tattoo.